I'm all right. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Alright, good. There we go, my brothers. Welcome. You already know where it is. I'm D. It's the Future Fathers FF podcast. Yeah. Let's get into it. How you doing, my brothers? I'm cool. Excuse me. Wow, I had to cough that one up. How you been, bros? I'm alright. Not been too bad. Work's been good. Life's been okay. Been treating myself nice. Just trying to keep myself up. Working out, keeping my brain going. Just trying to keep myself moving forward. Driving for better things. How you been? I'm alright. I know I'm answering my own question. Like, what is wrong with me? My brothers and fathers everywhere, how have you been? I hope your week's been okay. I hope you're good. Okay, introductions down. Yeah, obligatory questions out of the way. My brothers, me and my brother spoke about what it is to be a dad on quite a few different occasions. I think I've spoken to you on what it is to be a dad of the community on maybe two different occasions, but one definitely I can say for sure. I can say that for sure, 100%. Me and my brother has even spoken to you about whether whether it's appropriate for you to be affectionate with your child in certain situations. Yes, it is. We've spoken to you about quite a few different topics. We've come to you on quite a few different occasions with different opinions, and sometimes we have the same opinion on different subjects. Seeing as how I'm sure you already gathered, let me just move into a nice position. Yeah. Okay. Seeing as how I'm sure you've already gathered, there's no Nay today. It's just me. My brothers keep needing to move. There we go. I'm in the right spot. I'm in the spot. Today, my brothers, I don't know what it is. I know I've spoken to you about children's speech and how they conduct themselves out on the road. What, bros? I don't think I've asked the question, made a statement, mentioned something, said something about it on our children's mental health. I know I have with my brother, but it's something that we've only touched on. Now, I'm somebody who, as I'm pretty sure over the time you've listened to me on a number of different occasions and topics, I've had quite a few different things to say. Yeah? And as me and my brother said before, yeah, we both grew up in a time where you couldn't really talk about mental health. Now it's not frowned upon as much. And I use the word frowned upon because it was. Now not so much. Different. And the reason why it's different is because there are different categories, there are different situations, and every child is individual, as we have pointed out on more than one occasion. Now, I know I must have said something to you about children's mental health before. PC, no one's talking to you, be quiet. I know I have. As I was saying, I know I have. Now, preparation for different stages in your child's life also has an effect on their mental well-being. I did not understand this. And I know you're probably sitting there thinking to yourself, well, how do you mean you didn't understand that? Bros, listen, yeah. I grew up in a house where it wasn't how are you feeling? It was do this, go and do that, go here, go there. There was no questions of how are you feeling. And the only reason I'm even saying anything today is because my youngest son, praise him, he's done his job, he's been at college and passed his last 2 exams. I cannot express to you how proud of him I am. Let's give him a well done, well done, well done, definitely. I cannot express to you how proud of him I am. I cannot express to you how proud of himself he is or how happy with the results he got. Now, before he took his exams, his mental health was nowhere near where it is now. Bearing in mind, he still has another exam to take, but it's one he's been looking forward to. Seeing the transition in him from unhappy to happy, or should I say from unsure to ecstatic, is wonderful. Because you see, I've seen the progression in my son in the sense that he understood that it was something he needed to do. I've seen him put the work in, and I've seen him develop himself. I haven't physically seen it. I'm not going to say that because I haven't been standing in the classroom with him while he's at college. I got work, I got a job, I got things to do myself. Yeah, so he can get to go out and, oh my gosh, shut your face. Yes, anyway. So he can go out and get to do things he wants to do. I say him because I'm not including the big one. He's old enough to fend for himself. The youngest one is also now old enough to fend for himself. Legally, he is an adult. In the eyes of society, I am no longer responsible for him. In the eyes of a parent, I will always be responsible for both of them until I am no longer able to be responsible for both of them. There will come a time when their own responsibility falls right at their own feet. I'm saying this from my own experience. There was a time when I was extremely unsure of myself. You guys listening to me talking into a microphone in this space that I've built for this purpose, which you will get to see very soon. I'm happy about that. But me talking to you like this has been something that I have had to cultivate over many, many years. Your child's mental health will change. It will go up, down, left, right, around, all kinds of different angles you can imagine and angles you cannot imagine. Because I'm pretty sure there are dark corners of your life that you wish to discuss with no one. Our children are no exception. We're not with them every single second of every single day. They may, as children are young, they may have said something to somebody or had a thought about somebody or something that they haven't told you about, us as parents. And as they grow older, there will be things that they do not want to discuss with us as their parents. Ultimately, our job is to make sure their brains are molded in a fashion that is conducive to being a successful, well, not necessarily successful, but what's the word I'm looking for? What is the word I'm looking for? Not prominent, not successful, contributing. contributing member of society. I don't want to sit here and seem like I'm talking from on my high horse saying, my brothers, you need to do this and you need to do that. Remember, bros, my youths are 21 and 18. Yeah, I think I've got a little bit of time to sit down now and be like reflecting on what I did with my youths, how I did things with my youths. Brothers, I'm still now learning how to do things with the youths. Because as I said, my youngest, he wasn't in a very good place before he did his exams. Now he's in an all right place. But that it's not, I wouldn't say it's fear. That anxiety, I don't really like using that word, but that anxiety around your exams, his exams, it doesn't stop there. That's not going to be the last time he feels like that. So my job as his parent is to help prepare him for different situations that may arise, different circumstances that he may find himself in, and ultimately his life, his existence, the rest of it, that he knows how to deal with it on his own, or not that he knows, but that he's well prepared. I know I keep saying the same thing over and over and over about different subjects. Preparation. My brothers, do you know what? This is why Batman is the best superhero ever. Because you can't done him. As long as my man's got prep time, yeah? You ain't finishing Batman. And the dude's got no superpower. We as human beings are very capable of extremely great things. And we as parents should not think that our children are not those people, or that they can't be those people. If we're keeping their spirits up as best we can, then we can only hope their mental health and their mental well-being is where we feel it's at a good point for them. Now, we can't judge. There's no way we can know definitively that they're okay. We can't know that. We can only assume and hope for the best. I would love to say, you know what? Every single day my youth goes out, or my boys go out, that they're confident in themselves and they're happy with how they conduct themselves and this, that, and the other. The truth is, yeah, and I know this, that's not how it is. You encounter different people in different situations that you're uncomfortable with and that you don't like. I do, at work. 2 youths yesterday threw up just as I was about to leave work. One threw up, and then the next one saw their sister throw up, so she threw up. I got to clean up two lots of vomit. I wasn't happy. It's a situation I don't necessarily like to have to do that, but you know what? I'm a parent as well. I've seen my youth throw up. I've had to clean it up myself. So I've got a strong stomach. Yeah, I've learned how to deal with that. It's not something I enjoy, but it's okay. The father of the children as well, he did help. But I'm just saying, when you're prepared, when you have the right tools, when you kind of know what you're supposed to do, when you know how you're supposed to maneuver, it makes it a little bit easier. And when your mental health is in the right place, it also helps. It also helps. And that doesn't just mean, okay, well, we're okay, so our children must be. No, it doesn't mean that at all. Our children's well-being falls well under our jurisdiction. Their health, mental health, and their physical well-being falls right at our jurisdiction, it's right at our doorstep, our feet. We're responsible for them. Their minds, their bodies, everything. And it seems like in today's society and how things are moving, it seems more of an apparent thing that parents need to have input in their children's existence. And I don't mean just any kind of input. I mean, it should be positive. It needs to be positive, because our children are our children. As much as they're not, as much as they're their own individuals, they're ours. We at least have to teach them something before they leave the house, before they leave the nest and they go and build their own. We at least have to give them knowledge on the wider world. If you're not preparing your child and you're not keeping their mental well-being at the forefront of their health, as well as their physical health, as I just stated, then maybe you need to reassess. And I'm not saying it as you need to do this, or maybe you need to, figure your parenting out. My brothers, my fathers everywhere, listen to me very carefully. I have had to do exactly the same thing. Exactly the same. I used to think, yeah, my children are cool, my children are alright, until certain situations, and I was like, okay, my boys are not they're not as well as I thought they were. I'm not talking about, like they got to be, they're on mad meds and this, that, and other. No, but their mental well-being, as any child, needs to be taken care of just as much as their physical well-being does. As adults, we understand how our brains work, and we don't even understand that much. But we understand what pushes us, what drives us, what helps us, what deters us, and what determines us, and what we're determined about. How are they any different? Why are they any different? Because they're small? Then that should make even more sense to guide them and help with their mental health and well-being. Reason being is because you can understand the amount of different situations you come across and you're put in your life. Take one day, for instance, just one. Think about one day where you had a bad situation that you was in, or you was put in. Now think about a child being in that situation that you was in. Whether you were at work, at home, anywhere, it doesn't matter where. Because they don't go to work, but they're at school as long. They're in the home and they're trying to push their boundaries at home with mum, dad, whoever's looking after them. They're out in the world trying to understand who they are as human beings. You have to understand, that the capacity that they have is nowhere near the capacity that we have. They haven't learned half the things that we've learned. They haven't seen half the things that we've seen. So we have to be a little bit more cautious in what we expose them to. We, as parents, have to be a little bit more cautious in what goes on in the house. As I said, what they're exposed to. Now, it doesn't necessarily always have to be something that you're teaching them. As I've stated on a number of occasions, children learn very well and very quickly by not even being told anything. They just observe. As to quote my brother, let's bring it back to nature. They're like orangutan young. They watch and observe everything their parents do, and they're with their parents for, I believe, and I don't want to get this, I'm not sure if I can remember, let's not get this wrong, I'm going to look it up, but I believe it is 3 years. Let's ask Google, how long do orangutan young stay with their parents? 6 to 7 years. I hope you heard that. 6 to 7 years. So that doubled what I was saying. So imagine they live in the jungle and they have 6 to 7 years worth of teaching before they go out on their own. That's the jungle. We can talk, we drive, as we say, we've got opposable thumbs, so we must be smarter. We've got language, so we must be smarter than the animals. Yet our children are with us for nearly 18 years, nearly double that of the orangutan. That's a bit profound, that is, because it just goes to show that, you know what, when nature is doing what it needs to do, you don't necessarily have to be around your parents that long. Now I can imagine way back in the day there was children that weren't around their parents that long, but understand this, and if you check it and you look through history yourself, or you look through the past yourself, because I don't really like using history, if you look through the past yourself, you will notice that children grew up a lot earlier than they do now. And I mean that in the sense that I started work when I was 13, 14. I'm pretty sure if you go back 20 years, but not from now. Yeah, because we're going back 20 years anyway. 17, 18 years. Let's just say you go back a couple hundred years. Not even that far. Yeah, a couple hundred years. Yeah. I'm pretty sure the children back then were a lot more mature than children are now. And I'm talking around early teens. Certain tribes in Africa, bruh, they say from you reach teen, that's it, you're a man. Now imagine all the things that come, all the responsibilities that come with being an adult. None of us want to even force them on our children. We're always like, well, I know I am. I'm like, take your time and grow up. That's what I used to say to my boys all the time. You don't want to grow up too fast, take your time. And children, on the other hand, because I used to do it myself, I want to be older. I want to be someone. I want to grow up quick because I can do blah, blah, blah. And now I'm like, boy, you know what? I would rather be back at school in my mum's house. I don't have to worry about where my food's coming from. I don't have to worry about paying no bills. I don't got to worry about whether there's gas or electric. Yeah. Bruh, looking back on them times there, I didn't have a worry in the world. Apart from when I started working and had to help my mum out with a little bit of change. But I said, God, my mental capacity back then was different to the youths today. And as I said, that's 20 years. Actually, no, we're going back 35 years, 25 years, not 30. Come on, 25 years. So yeah, 25 years from now, children were different to they are today. So if you go back a couple hundred years, I'm pretty sure you will find that the mental capacity of children back then is a little bit more than what the children got now. We have done that. Yeah, we as their parents have done that in the first world. We've made our children soft. That's what we've done. And we give them social media and it's just made their brains mush. Which is why I try to tell my lot, you know what, read something. Every so often I beg you, please just read something. Brothers, I got a book collection that I'm trying to keep up with to keep my mental state in tip-top condition. I don't want my children to falter with their mental state. So to keep theirs in tip-top condition, I got to try and do the same things that work for me. And if it doesn't work for them, we got to try and find something else. But all I'm saying is they're growing. And your children, my brothers, you know how big mine are. Your children might not be the same age. Your children might be a lot smaller. My brothers, they're growing fast. Yeah? Quick. Don't let that time there fly past you, Seriously. Because you don't want that to happen and you're like, oh, well, do you know what? It's all right. Oh, I missed it, innit? It's okay. Because you really don't want to miss that. And I'll tell you the next thing, what that does to your child's mental health when you miss those kind of times when you should be with them and you should be sitting down and it's all happy and this, that and the other, it mashes them up. Because they tend to think, well, do you know what? What was it? Was it me? I'm speaking from personal experience, I used to think, is it me? Like, what did I do? Am I not good enough? Do you not like? Bro, there's so many different things children think of that we don't think they think of. Because we're adults. We got adult problems. They're children. They got children's issues. And they might seem insignificant to us, but when we were children, they weren't insignificant, were they? No, they weren't. All I'm saying is we just need to take a look at the children and relay that on our own and be like, boy, I wouldn't like that to happen, or I wouldn't like to be in that state of mind, I wouldn't like to be feeling like that. And I know, imagine this, I started with me saying, well, close to the start anyway, I started with me saying, I grew up in a house where it wasn't about feelings. It wasn't how you feeling. But now we kind of have to take into consideration our children's feelings. My brothers, I don't know about you, but at a certain time I'm like, what do you mean feelings? But I understand. Your children, your youths, what do you mean feelings? But I understand. If you don't see me hug you, but you see other people's parents hugging them, eventually you're gonna feel like, oh, why don't my dad hug me? Especially if you see, so my boys, they see me hug their mum. They see me hug my mum, my sisters, my brother. Imagine if I hugged only one of them. They would definitely feel like, whoever didn't get the hug would definitely feel like, wow, did I do something? Don't you like me? You never hugged me. You understand what I'm saying? That kind of mental strain there. And that's just one thing. And that's something that I'm just thinking about off the top of my head. There's so many different things that our children are going through now in the 21st century, in this day and age, that we have no idea about because we didn't go through those kind of issues. We didn't have the same problems that they do. So for some of us, it's hard to understand. It's hard to comprehend. But I'm telling you, once you're able to sit down and look past it and put yourself in the child's position, just like how we say, you should put yourself in my position. It doesn't make it easier for you to understand. It just broadens your understanding. It builds on top of what you know. And if you're unsure of something, it's information you had now. It's information you have now you didn't have before. Our children's mental well-being and mental health is up there with physical well-being and physical health. If you ask me, especially nowadays in the 21st century, where their brains are just being pushed, pulled, poked and prodded by social media, their friends, and the rest of the wider world. Bros, when you look at your child, I'm pretty sure you want to know that your child is safe, no matter what. I'm pretty sure when you look at your child, you want to know that your child isn't wondering whether they're good enough for you, their friends, or anybody else. I hope when you look at your children or your child, you wonder to yourself, am I doing enough for them? They didn't ask to be here. We help give them life. We are the ones that are responsible for our children's safety, their physical and mental well-being. I'm not trying to let nobody take that out of my hands. I never have done, and I don't care how big my boys get. I ain't letting nobody take that responsibility away from me. Don't let no one take it away from you. Mental health for children is a big thing. It's getting bigger, but it's getting better to deal with. My brothers, fathers everywhere, I beg you, please do like, share, subscribe, do the flicky button. You know where it is. I've been D. This is the Future Fathers FF podcast, and I beg you, my brothers, stay well and stay blessed.